Welcome back to the channel, guys. This is episode 3 of Armed and Black. If you missed episode 1 and 2, definitely subscribe to the channel and comment in the comment section. Episode 1 was about the different types of guns that you can conceal carry. Episode 2 talked about the different ways that you can conceal carry a gun. And today's conversation is going to be about training, dry firing, getting the reps in, getting the training that you need to ensure you stay sharp and you stay responsible with your firearm. All right. My journey has been an interesting one. This is the firearm that I carry. Again, it has been safety checked. No magazine, no bullets, nothing. This is the Smith & Wesson Equalizer. And again, I chopped it up about why I believe this is such a fantastic gun. Right? So my training experience, my gun journey has been interesting because there was nobody there to teach me about firearms. Right? In the black community, especially where I live, most people tell you don't buy a gun. Guns are bad. If you carry a gun, you're a bad person. That's what I was told my entire life. Until I made the conscious decision to actually want to purchase a gun, I realized there was no training out there. Not for me, not for anybody who looked like me. And that's the whole reason why I started this YouTube channel, because I want to give information back to a lot of the new gun owners who want this information. And to also meet a lot of the veteran gun owners who have been shooting for 20, 30, 40 plus years and sort of absorb some of the information that they have. Okay? So the first thing I did when it came to trying to get ready to purchase my first firearm is I wanted to train, and the first thing I did with training was I went on and I bought something like this. This is a blue gun. This is like a clay sort of molded gun. It's not a real gun, but the texture of it is designed and created in a way where it's supposed to feel like a real gun in some ways. So a lot of people in law enforcement, if you're a range safety officer, a gun instructor, if you're in the military, this is something that they might train you on initially to teach you how to handle a firearm safely before you can actually touch a real gun. And I recommend everybody who is new to shooting, even veterans, go out and get yourself one of these tools. This is a really great training tool. I think I trained on this for about 2 months before I ever upgraded to the next steps of what I'm going to talk about when it comes to firearms training. But I trained a lot with this. I trained with the presentation. I trained with lining up my sights. I trained when it came to just ensuring my finger always stayed off the trigger, handling that grip, making sure there's no space in the back, making sure that beaver tail is really, really close to my hand. All of those things that you can practice, I practice right on this, right? 90% of the safe gun handling experience that people tend to experience with a gun, I was able to train most of that with just this particular tool. So please go out and get yourself one of these tools. I even painted the front sight white so that way I can sort of, as you can see, get a clearer image on those front sights and lining up my rear and front sights. So a lot of my training in the early days was just with this blue gun. This cost me about $60 on eBay. Get yourself one. New shooters. eBay has a lot of these in different platforms. So get yourself one. After I felt comfortable using this and I felt like I mastered this, I was clearing rooms, moving around my hallway, doing everything that I needed to do as a proficient shooter, I then upgraded to the SIRT pistol. The SIRT pistol, again, is another training tool. This is not a real gun. This is a laser gun. So as you guys can see, this is a laser gun, not a real gun. But the benefits of a SIRT pistol over the blue gun is that the SIRT pistol, this is in the configuration of a Glock 17. The SIRT pistol has a trigger. You can't wrap the slide, but it does have a fake magazine that you can unload and reload, which means you can practice things like reloading the gun. You can practice things like that trigger pull, that trigger press, and you can also start dry firing on actual targets. So this is the Mantis target that I started using. This is an 8.5 by 11 just really trying to hit that center, hit that headshot, and it worked out a lot. I trained a lot, and this one was a smaller target compared to the 8.5 by 11. This is, I think, a 4 by 6. Just trying to hit that center target. Really great. From the one end of my house to the next, about 15 yards. So I would set these paper targets up at distances from 3, 5, 7, 10, and 15 yards, and just train to see how close I could get to those different spots on the paper. So I trained with this for about an additional 4 months. Got a lot of reps in, a lot of trigger press. The trigger pull on this is pretty heavy, but the wall is very defined and the break is very clean. Like I said, the only thing is that you don't need to re-rack it. Okay? So this cost me about $300. Got this also on eBay. You can go to the CERT site. You can purchase this directly from the site. Get it from eBay, wherever you get it. Point is, this is a great training tool. Great for clearing rooms, moving around corners, hand transitions to the next, doing all the different things that you might want to do in more advanced training classes. You can do it right at home with something like this. And I pretty much use this a lot. After I felt like I mastered this and I felt very comfortable with the CERT training pistol, I then upgraded to using a real firearm for training in the home. And what I mean by that is I went out and bought this bad boy. This is a laser cartridge or laser bullet, and essentially the way this works is when you put this in the firearm, right down in the barrel of the firearm, what you'll find is when you pull the trigger, the firing pin will hit the back of this particular tool. It's like a rubber backing of some kind, and when it hits the back, it's going to emit this laser. So it's gonna shoot out this laser, and it's pretty easy. So you take it, lock the slide back, take this, you stuff it right down there. Just rock it a few times to make sure it's seated in there, and then look at that. See how easy that is? And the laser will come through. So that's pretty much how I train today. Most of my training when it comes to dry firing is with this. The only time I'll use something like this or like this is when I'm trying to clear the house. Like I'm doing a training exercise to move from room to room. I'd rather use these because they're not real guns. Right? I still want to be safe, still want to take all those precautions in place. So I would rather use these when I'm clearing the house in a training exercise. If I'm just hitting a still target, I would use this to dry fire. I got this on Amazon. This is really dope. This is supposed to be like sort of like a fake still target, like a virtual still target. And the great thing about this is that when you shoot it, I think I turned the volume down. There you go. When you shoot it, it creates the sound of a real still target, like you're actually shooting a real still target. So this gives me the chance to have some fun when I'm dry firing. My dry firing sometimes can be a little dull and get a little boring, but this turns it almost like into a video game where you can set this up pretty much anywhere in your house, 3 yards, 5 yards, 7 yards, 10, 15 yards, depending how deep your house is, and you can shoot from any of those distances and just try to get better and better when it comes to dry firing. Okay? Like I said, always be safe, but those are the 3 ways. So I started out with the blue gun. Once I mastered that, transitioned into the CERT laser pistol. Once I mastered that, I then moved into the real firearm using the laser bullet. And you guys can see this. Yep, you see it. It's right there. Okay? So that's pretty much how I do my training. But no matter which platform I'm using, I always treat the firearms as if they're loaded. Although this is not a real gun, I treat it like it's a real gun. always. I don't point this at anything. I treat it like it's loaded. Okay? I never point the gun at anything I'm not willing to shoot. Not a family member, not children, anything. I don't care if this is a clay gun. I pretend this is a real gun. Because when you train like it's the real thing, a lot of that transitions over to when you are carrying your actual real gun. So I always pretend like this is a real gun. I always keep my finger off the trigger. Always. Even during training, I keep my finger off the trigger. That is important. And after that, whenever I'm lining up my target, I always make sure I see what's beyond my target. Those things are key. And as you practice those steps, I promise you, you are going to become a better shooter. You just are. You're going to become a better shooter and you're going to become safer. So those are just some things to keep in place, guys. But that's how I train. That's how I train at home. Again, you guys can let me know down in the comments what's the best way that you guys train. However you train, please just be safe. All right? And as always, let me know inside of the comments what are the different ways that you guys actually go out there and train. I would love to know. Maybe there's other training exercises you guys can teach me. You can teach the new shooters, the veteran shooters, everybody. But let me know, right? Let me know down in the comments. As always, stay legal, stay strapped, and no matter what the situation, try your best to de-escalate. Because even if you're carrying a firearm, this is a last resort, not a first resort. All right, walk away from arguments. If you feel like it's getting heated, if you feel like somebody's getting nasty, make sure you get up and walk away. Because if you're in a shooting, you are going to have to spend a lot of money in order to fight for your freedom. Money, in most cases, you probably won't have. So just make sure that you walk away, de-escalate, and try your best to not get into a shooting, guys. Right? This is the last resort. And again, let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Subscribe to the channel. Go watch episode 1 and 2. Let's get the conversation going and let's give the information to a lot of the new shooters who are coming in who are still very insecure about the process of gun ownership. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video. As always, stay safe.